All right, so yeah, to break it down, we are just doing intro, news, and then what we've been up to after that. So it'll be
Cool.
weekly raid, then epilogue, then we're good.
Cool.
Sweet.
But there's a lot of news stuff. I did, by the way, try to put some fun stuff in here.
Hmm.
Mostly the movie stuff I put in, all fun.
All right, we are rolling and we are live, gentlemen.
Oh, we are live. It's been
Hello, Internet.
so long.
Welcome.
Hello, Internet.
Where
All
have
right.
we been?
Oh boy, well,
We've been in fucking Japan,
we
bud.
were in Japan.
Lies.
And then we were suffering from jet lag for a while.
And then being back in America syndrome.
Oh yeah, and then just the absolute culture shock, not of going to Japan and experiencing their culture. That was phenomenal. It was coming back here and being like, why don't we have nice things?
You had your fucking chance and you came back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we really should have just. I should still be
Should've
just
s-
working at that hotel for room and board.
Should have just stayed with Lash.
Yeah.
Like, Lash had it right when he was like, I'm going to stay behind.
Yep.
All right, ready to do a show?
Ready?
Ready?
Let's fucking do it. Take a drink. Welcome, everyone, to Good Night and Good Game, your source for geek news for the weeks that were. I'm your host, James, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Hector,
Hello.
and our fantastic producer, John.
It's me.
John, it's so nice to see you again. It's
Right?
been so long.
It's
Yeah.
been a while.
It has been.
You guys have been away.
We've been in
Yeah.
other countries experiencing other cultures. and-
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So this week on the show, we are finally back, and because we've been gone so long, we have a ton of geek news to catch up on. So this is going to be one of those great news-only segments. But before we start, don't forget that you can head over to goodnight.gg, where as a patron of our show, you can suggest topics for us to talk about. Also, as a patron, you get access to our off-week episodes. We're now in Season 2 of our Tales from the Crypt watch and recap, and it's only $1 to join our Patreon and hear those episodes. All right, with all that out of the way, it's time to get into the news, all of the news, in the weekly raid.
The weekly raid.
All right, welcome to the weekly raid. It is your roundup of the month's geek news. Kicking things off this week, against all odds, a new entry in the Men in Black franchise is in development. No one's been cast, but Chris Brenner, who worked on Bad Boys for Life, is currently working on the script.
Oh, thank God.
So is this a Netflix movie then?
No, we just know that it's a new Men in Black movie, and nobody's purchased the rights yet, and that the script is being worked on. We don't even know if Will Smith's going to have anything to do with it.
I mean, yeah, sounds like a good time. Honestly, like the whole Men in Black scenario thing is very much popcorn fun. Regardless of who's in it, like you can do this movie with anyone. You really can.
I mean,
They
it was
just
a
have to
comic
be
series
fun
to
to
start
watch.
with, so
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
anybody could be in it. I mean, you know what? It's been long enough since the last Men in Black movie. It's fine. It's time. You don't
Sure.
even need to. You don't even need to reboot it. Like it's a
Nope.
concept that's kind of eternal at this point. Right?
Yeah, and
Like,
bringing it into the modern era, having like the world wasn't a surveillance state when the last time this movie came out. So now it would be a lot more interesting to see how they get around certain things.
I think that the thing that is always interesting to me is that in the original Men in Black movies, one of the things they covered was like what quote unquote conspiracy theories were real.
Oh yeah.
And like that's a thing that hits a bit differently in this modern
Ah.
era.
Mhm.
It's like I don't know if I want them to go that deep on it. Let's just stick to aliens, boys.
You know.
Let's not get too weird about this. All right, let's keep the adaptation train rolling. Let's talk about Helldivers.
Ooh.
So Sony Pictures is actively working on a Helldivers film, and the script is being written by Gary Doberman, who worked on It, and their director is Justin Lin, who worked on the Fast and the Furious series. Now, it did recently come out that Justin Lin is not a gamer, and when the CEO of Arrowhead was asked if Lin was going to play the game before he films the movie, he simply replied, "I trust Justin. He did a great job on the Star Trek movie."
Good.
Yeah, I mean,
Good.
not a lot else to be said about that. It's Helldivers is Starship Troopers, so they did just we're making Starship Troopers in everything but name. I mean, like yeah, but if Justin Lin can fucking do it.
Right.
He can absolutely do it. He brought us Justin for Han in the Fast and Furious series. He brought us all of the best entries in that franchise.
Look, I don't want to be that guy
he's a
about
good
it.
director.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy about it, but like, if you were telling me that like the person who's making the newest Resident Evil movie had never played a Resident Evil game, I'd be a bit nervous. But honestly, all you have to watch is the intro to Helldivers, which is a 1 minute and 30-second commercial, and you know what the fuck Helldivers is.
Yeah, absolutely. You are watching a bunch of meatheads fight,
I'd say
invade
play-
and kill aliens for a fascist government. It's it's just Starship.
I'd say play the first 3-minute introduction section
Oh, the
where you have to
tutorial.
walk through
Oh,
and
the
get your
tutorial,
face
yeah.
shot.
Yep.
Put the tutorial in the movie, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would be so easy to establish what's going on. I don't honestly know what they're going to make the
What
plot
Star
out
Trek
to
movie?
be.
What Star Trek movie did Justin Lin work on?
I have no idea. I feel like I've seen all of the Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
So no, I don't know what he worked on.
Yeah. I was like, is there one that I missed? I didn't see all of the Abrams ones, but those are considered the Abrams ones. So
yeah,
I don't
those
know.
are the,
Oh shit, he did Star Trek Beyond, which yeah, I don't know if
don't
this
know if I've
breaks
seen
with the main audience out there, but that's the best one.
Wait, which one was Beyond?
It was the third of the new trilogy of the new movies.
Who
The
was
ones-
in it and why?
The ones that started with Abrams?
Oh,
Yeah. They
you're
started with
talking-
Abrams.
Wait, is this the one?
It was
that-
right after
yes.
Star Trek
Yeah.
Into Darkness.
Yeah, the one that felt like a Fast and Furious movie. The one where
Oh,
it's
okay, that makes
basically like it ends with a Beastie Boys
Hell,
track. The Beastie
yes.
Boys track wins Star Trek.
Yeah, and
yeah.
if you explain it to somebody, it sounds like the dumbest thing ever. But when you're watching it, you're like, "Fuck yes,
Okay,
Beastie Boys."
So what he did was he took Star Trek, the thinking man sci-fi, and made it Fast and the Furious. And while a lot of Star Trek fans were mad about that, me, a diehard Star Trek fan, was like, that was fun.
Yeah, and he also
There's
made
also
it.
motorcycle
Fast and
stunts
Furious.
in the movie.
And he also made it, about the characters and the dynamics of the characters, and not a retread Wrath of Khan that somehow pays service to the movie while insulting anybody who remembers the movie.
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep,
did not like
100%.
that. Yeah,
No,
the original
Beyond
Wrath of Khan
is
so
it's
good.
the best as
Yeah.
far as I'm
And
concerned.
I know very little about Star Trek. I've only seen the movies, but I did see the fucking remake, and I was like, Wrath of Khan was so much better, though, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Wrath of Khan
So
was-
yeah, you know what? I will defer to Hector's opinion about this one. If you were excited for him doing a Helldivers movie,
Hell yeah.
I will accept that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited.
No, it should be fine. I mean, I gun to my head, I could not pick a director to direct this project because I would never have greenlit this project. But if Sony's out there greenlighting games with no plots for movies,
Hold
Justin
on.
Lin
You
Hold
know
on.
what?
great
The only person
to
I
throw
would have
this in.
You
selected
would-
is the person who did fucking Starship Troopers.
Right?
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
the RoboCop director.
Yeah, and the thing is, like Verhoeven already made one of these,
It's called Starship
and
Troopers.
then they based Helldivers on his movie.
But if he did it again with the title Helldivers, people might go and watch it.
I mean,
I
will
don't
they?
know.
I don't know.
Ugh. All right, let's talk about other movies that I'm excited for. I did front load the excitement of this episode, so everybody get really happy about this. 'Cause it's gonna
Wait
get,
to be
it's gonna-
depressed.
It's gonna get weird. at the-
Wait till we get to the actual.
Yeah, wait till we get to
news.
video games.
This
All
is
right,
America
so
after all.
another film that was announced while we were out of the country was The Mummy 4.
Fuck yes.
The excitement I have seen for this movie online has been insane. Even Brendan Fraser himself has been on the hype train saying that this is the movie that he's wanted to make for 20 years. And a bunch of sources near the project are saying that the film is not a reboot, but it will disregard the events of the third movie.
Good, because that's the one that no one wants to exist.
And no one
That's the
saw
one-
it. So
That's the one we pretend doesn't exist because it doesn't have Raquel Wise. It has them going to China and fighting Jet Li. Like, just
I don't know if
ignore-
I ever saw the third one.
Don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. It's not real. It is the Mandela effect of movies. Just forget that
I thought The
anyone
Rock was in the third one.
just huh?
I thought The Rock was in the
No,
third
The
one.
Rock's
No,
at
that
the
was
end
the
of the
Scorpion
second one,
King.
and the second one is fucking poetry. I love the second Mummy movie.
All right, other things that we're excited about. Everyone's favorite side character of this year's Superman film, Jimmy Olsen, is getting his own spin-off series.
Yay.
God, the dissent in the room. Jeez. We know that the team behind the wildly successful mockumentary American Vandal are working on the project.
Okay.
And the concept is just going to be around life at the Daily Planet.
It's not just why did Jimmy Olsen get this much ass?
I would like an answer to that question.
We're about to find out.
But we're also hearing that Gorilla Grodd is going to be the villain of the first season.
But Jimmy Olsen can't fight Gorilla Grodd. I don't understand what's happening. if this show isn't about Superman, Superman's not allowed to show up to fight Gorilla Grodd. So what are we doing?
I don't know, man. I think that Gunn can get away with anything at this point.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. I mean, you know what? It's probably going to be a lot of fun.
And
And that actor deserves all of his flowers for all of the work that he did in
Righteous Gemstones?
yes.
But he wasn't even in the last 2 seasons.
And that's
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
And everything that he did in that show was amazing. Everything he does and everything I've seen him in was amazing. He was great as Jimmy Olsen. He put a weird spin on the character, but he's
The
still
greatest
Superman's
thing
best
that Gunn
friend.
did
Loved
with
it.
that character was say, Jimmy Olsen can get it.
Yeah, he fucks, and everyone knows, and everyone's into it. And but he's like standing next to the fucking sexiest Clark Kent we've ever gotten.
had.
And all of the women at the Daily Planet are like, "Look at that short king.
Ha.
You give. You come right here and sit in my lap, young man. I'm taking you home."
I still prefer Chloe Sullivan, but sadly
That's fine.
she's
It's
in
okay to
prison
be
or
in the
something.
wrong. So I will say this. If I had never seen Gorilla Grodd, if you were unfamiliar with this character, it's a giant monkey, but he can talk.
Pretty sure he's
If I had never seen, or
Ape.
sorry, yes, he's a gorilla.
He's an ape.
He's an ape. If you had never seen this character portrayed before, I'd be like, well, that's going to be weird. That's going to be a lot of CGI. But I'm a defender of CW's The Flash.
Yeah.
And they put Gorilla Grodd in that, and they made it work.
They did. They really did.
And the way that they make it work is that they just embrace the campiness of having a giant gorilla as a bad guy.
Yeah, a gorilla who talks in like Shakespearean English and is smarter than you, like way, way, way smarter than you. It's a good time. If you've seen any of the Planet of the Apes movies, try and forget them because the CG is not going to be that good in this TV show.
All right. What else do we have to talk about? You know what? Let's talk about a movie that you and I saw recently
Uh-huh.
that I very much loved. Probably one of my favorite movies of the year. Let's talk about Predator Badlands.
Fuck yeah, Predator Badlands.
So, Elle Fanning, the star of Predator Badlands, well, the non-Predator star of Predator Badlands,
Right.
came out recently in support of more genre films getting awards recognition.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and quote her directly here. She said, "Just because it's genre, I don't think that people should be biased. I don't agree with that. A film is a film. Even with Demi Moore last year with The Substance, that was so incredibly deserved to get acknowledged for that film. Everything All at Once was so bold and new. I think we are broadening what we take for awards, and I think that's important. But I think we could be opening to pushing it a little bit more.
Agreed.
It's important to cultivate creativity and young directors with their ideas and to have that be noticed. There shouldn't be a mathematical equation for what is the proper thing to do, and I hope that it continues to change."
Yeah, 100% agree, have always agreed. I remember when it was super weird that Mad Max Fury Road was nominated for and winning Oscars because it was an action movie,
Right.
and it's the Oscars, and we don't like dumb movies. The Academy is also completely allergic to comedies and absolutely shits on genre movies. I use air
I
quotes if
fucking
you're on
hate
the
that term
radio.
so much.
They're horror movies, or they're thrillers, or they're whatever else. Not everything has to be about a seamstress from the 20s. Not everything needs to be about a historical figure to win awards, or a war, or the boring parts of a war, to be clear. Or, you know, such a huge spectacle, but also respectable in like a Christopher Nolan movie. You can take movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which won Oscars, like Fury Road, which won Oscars, and just let them have their flowers and say, you know what, we loved this. We really, really loved this. And it doesn't need to be the most popular shit in the world. There's a reason stuff like Endgame or Infinity War didn't really qualify.
Fucking tragedy.
Yeah, which like those were the
Endgame.
biggest, most important movies of the decade, if not century, when they came out. But we need to acknowledge the things that are new, the things that push envelopes, and the things that like fall into the cultural zeitgeist. And somehow we are just now beginning to get awards for stunts. Like the stunts have been in movies since there were movies.
And they had to fight to get awards for stunts.
Yeah, so like bring in more awards for again, air quotes, fucking genre films. Bring in, we need to acknowledge the movies that made us, that shaped us, and usually it's not fucking La Vie en Rose and the Seamstress.
Also, it's fucking Nosferatu.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking just call it what it is, man. Like, these are the things that deserve to get awards, and they often get just whiffed over a ton of awards because they're, again, quote-unquote genre films.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we watched Frankenstein. I would give that movie
Jesus
so
Christ.
many fucking awards.
It deserves
all of the awards.
so many.
It was fantastic. I don't think anyone will ever do Frankenstein better. Del Toro had the budget and the crew and the people, the vision, like everything he needed, and he
It is
nailed
art.
it. Absolutely nailed it in every
Just
sense of the word.
Yeah. All right. So, I'm curious about your opinion about the next thing that we're going to be talking about here, Hector. In a move that you will either love or hate, there is an upcoming film called Slay Day that will have a theatrical release, and the kicker, as you are watching it, you will be on your phone with everybody else in the audience and voting on who lives and who dies. It's a classic slasher set in the 1980s, has a lot of star power behind it, including writers and directors that have worked on the VHS franchise, Law and Orders, Goosebumps, and more. Now, after its release in theaters, it will have a console and PC release as well.
Wait, who decides?
Everybody in the audience on their phone.
But how does that information get relayed to who? The projectionist?
I could break this down for you
It's a
tech-wise.
video
Like I'm
game.
just
It's a video
waiting to hear
It's a
the
fucking-
projectionists who are like,
No.
"Oh yeah, I just set it to random every
No,
night."
the projectionist will
doing
literally hook the projector up to a PC and will play just like you did in our living room for this episode of Tales from the Crypt today. That is what will be happening in the theater. My opinion about this is it is not a movie. It's people playing a video game in a movie theater. Please call it that.
Well, is
No.
it a video game if you only get one choice?
Yeah, who cares?
Well, there's definitely multiple
it is
choices.
Not,
Mm.
it is not a movie.
Oh,
It's just not.
oh.
That is my opinion.
How do you feel about the term interactive movie then?
That's not a thing.
Mhm.
Movies are not interactive.
Mhm.
That
So-
that is
so-
that is a video game or a Disney-like experience.
So video games can be
That is
art,
a thrill ride.
but they can't
Yes.
be movies.
I wanna-
No, video games are not movies.
I want to get
Video
it.
games are video games, and yes, everything is art.
Welcome.
If the best food in the world is art, so is McDonald's.
All
If
right.
the best video game in the world is art, so is Mahjong and Hoyo versus Gachapon games. It's all about varying degrees.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm not saying it might not be good and fun. It's not a fucking movie.
Okay.
Also, didn't they try this in the late '90s? And
I have a
didn't
more
it
recent reference
fail?
for that. So now that we're
Oh,
in
go ahead.
therapy with Hector, how did you feel about the Netflix episode Bandersnatch?
Oh yeah, so the
Loved it.
the interactive episode of
Black Mirror.
It's not a TV show. It's a video game.
Okay.
It's straight up a choose your own adventure book/game. I've played these. They're called Telltale games.
Mhm.
It's a video game that they did by filming people, something video games have been doing since the 90s when Mark Hamill was in cutscenes for first-person shooters on my PlayStation 1. It's a video game.
I will say this is the reason I have respect for this getting a theatrical release. Is when I first read about this, I wasn't offended by it.
No.
I read it, and the first thing that came to mind for me, because I'm such a horror buff, is it reminded me of William Castle. And if you're unfamiliar with William Castle, he's one of the horror greats. He made the original 13 Ghosts movie way back in the day. Not the one that I love, but the oldest one. He was really famous for doing weird things in the movies to get butts in seats. He had a movie called The Tingler, and what they did is they put little vibration devices under the movie theater seats so that when the Tingler got on the loose in the movie, it would make the seats vibrate in a certain
zaps you in the
order so that you felt like the monster was on the loose in the theater. It's all gimmick. But I feel like it's been so long since we've had a good movie gimmick that I'm welcoming to it.
Yeah, I mean, we have had, and I keep this away from us, but if we went to a normal theater and weren't always at the Draft House, we would constantly be walking by theaters rigged up for and advertisements for 4D movies.
Right.
Movies that spray you in the face with Mr. Water and vibrate your seats and tossle you from left to right.
Mhm.
You know, all that kind of shit. None of that is my bag. If your movie needs that, I don't know what you made. The farthest I will go is 3D because all it affects is your eyes. It's not shuffling you around. It's not spraying you with stuff. The whole point of a movie is to make you feel things with sound and picture. Like that's the idea. Everything else is rather superfluous. But again, like we've had movies this year, a horror movie, in fact, where people pumped like the smell of blueberry pie into a theater for effect.
That was Heretic.
Yeah. And like that's an interesting effect, and that is fine. You're using your senses. All of that can still be a movie. There was a bit in Megalopolis in certain theaters where the main character would start monologuing directly to the audience, and in certain theaters where they had this set up, a member of the audience, I'm using air quotes, this was all predetermined, would come up and ask the main character very scripted questions that he would respond to, and that was part of the show.
Right.
That's
Very
still
shadow cast like.
That's
Okay.
still a movie. Maybe being tousled around, if it was part of the movie, could still be a movie. Or getting shot in the face with spray or whatever you're going to see, you're going to watch. Immersion and interaction is the point that every movie is trying to go for. They're trying to make you experience the thing that
But
they're showing
this
you.
movie is
This
specifically-
movie is you on your phone trying to make decisions that alter the outcome of what's on the screen. That's not a movie.
Right.
It's just not. To me, it's not. Feel free to argue with me in all the comments, but you're wrong.
Give us all the comments. Tell
Yeah,
us your opinion about this because it's a very interesting.
The fact that it happens in a theater, I can go into a movie theater right now and play Super Smash Brothers with my friends. That doesn't mean we're in there watching a movie.
Right. All right. Well, our final adaptation news for the week is that FX is working on an anthology series to the Far Cry series.
Yeah.
The show's executive producers are going to be Rob Mack of Always Sunny fame and Noah Hawley, who is the
Ooh.
mind behind Fargo, Alien Earth, and Legion.
Mm,
I have a lot of feelings and opinions about this.
so many.
So I'm going to start
I
this with...
want to ask you, James, before you get started,
Yeah.
Have you played the Fallout games?
No,
I'm sorry,
Far
the
Cry
Far Cry games.
I have played almost all the way through 3 and part of 4.
Okay.
I really like 3. I think my PlayStation actually died before I finished 3.
Yeah, but so you're familiar with
Yes.
the plots and the storylines in the game.
Yes, they are an anthology. They are their own stories. Yeah, a dude on an island, supernatural powers, that's kind of the thing. I guess.
Kind of. But
Yes.
yes.
So, Rob Mack of Always Sunny fame, saying that outright, I'm like, okay, cool. But I also know that he's currently the mind behind Mystic Quest, which is a
Yep.
big fucking deal, and people are saying it's really fucking good. I
Yeah.
just haven't had a chance to watch it.
I was going to say, the stuff that he makes or is a part of producing
Mhm.
has all been, at the very least, very interesting, if not outright very entertaining.
Yeah. Next, we have Noah Hawley, who's worked on one of my favorite shows of all time, Legion. Now, yes, Fargo and Alien are all great. I'm a giant Legion fan. But
Fargo
like,
might be one of the best shows ever put
ever,
to
ever,
television.
ever made ever.
Like, by a lot. Like, it's not super close.
I don't know, man. This sounds like a winning combination to me.
Here's my thing about it being Far Cry. The thing about Far Cry is the main characters matter very, very little. They're pairs of pants that you put on to shoot things.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike just about every other video game that no one gives a shit about, especially first-person shooters, the Far Cry series is famous, absolutely famous for having interesting villains. Villains with pathos, villains with motivation, villains that more than just trying to kill you because they want to kill you or they're mad at you or whatever, are literally on a mission to do something because they believe in it and you're standing against them for whatever your circumstances are. But the villains are always massively, hugely interesting. If they can capture that, they've got a show. And Noah Hawley can do literally anything and I will watch it. So at the very least, I'm going to check this out. But
Yeah.
if we start with Far Cry 3 and Voss, if we do Far Cry 4 and Pagan Min, Far Cry 5 and I'm losing his name, but he's basically a cult leader in like the middle of Montana.
I was always interested in that one, but I never played it.
Yeah, me and Ross wrapped it up this year.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting and very good.
It was very very on the nose for the Trump administration. from what I
Oh
hear.
yeah, And the thing about it is, again, the main characters don't matter, so I don't know how they're going to deal with that. Hopefully, in a Fallout sort of way, where they introduce a fun character who's not part of the game. But the important thing is that they get the villains right, because that's all anyone's going to remember from the games when they're watching the TV show, and everything else is negotiable. If they give a shit about it, it'll be good. The big thing about this is going to be fight choreography, because that's all that the game is. If they choose not to do that, if they choose not to do action and like subterfuge and like cool things in that way and make it into something else, I'm still curious about what Noah Hawley is going to do. But if we're going to make a Far Cry game into a Far Cry TV show with this kind of pedigree, like, I don't know, man. This seems like a huge swing. It's not the project I would have picked, but none of the projects I would have picked are going to get made. So
Yeah, I mean, I would just be happy if they were like, cool, we got a name that allows us to greenlight a huge project
Yep.
with cool villains that have nothing to do with the game whatsoever.
yeah, and I think that's the move these days in
Yeah.
all of Hollywood.
If I had my druthers, I would say fucking your first swing is Far Cry 3, and you get the actor who played the main bad guy in that, because that's the
fucking
reason that
Yep.
fucking game was known for.
Yep. Yeah,
All right.
100%.
It's enough fun. It's time to talk about video games, everyone.
Oh, no.
All right, so the Game Developer Industry Salary Report survey was published last month, and 56% of industry veterans that were interviewed said that they are interested in joining a union, with at least 64% of game industry veterans saying that they support worker unionization.
Duh.
Yeah, no, it should be much higher. It should be much higher.
Of those who were allowed to respond honestly when
Right.
surveyed.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, wherever this survey was done, however they took it, those numbers should be a lot closer to 100%, considering the way y'all are getting fucked 8 ways
Yeah.
from Sunday on every project you work on, if you get to work on more than one.
All right, next up, more and more we are hearing stories of industry vets leaving their large companies that they're working for, or getting laid off and starting their own studios. This week, multiple developers who worked on the short-lived multiverse fighting game have teamed up to form a studio called Airlock Games. Quote, "We've spent years working on high-profile AAA titles, but we miss the wonderful, reckless creativity of more focused games. It's a space where we can focus on providing new experiences that interest both as players and developers. We're so excited to have the freedom to take creative risks, push boundaries, and tell stories that just aren't feasible for AAA productions." When asked about the current state of the industry, they went on to say, quote, "We've been laid off collectively 11 times."
Yeah. Yep. No, I mean, I don't know what's feasible anymore for the AAA industry outside of the very few studios we have that are allowed to just make great things. All of the studios seemingly owned, all of the AAA studios that are allowed to make art that they believe in that isn't homogenized bullshit seem to all belong to Sony right now. You know, you have like Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, Insomniac. Outside of there, what is a AAA studio giving us besides Bethesda giving us bad adaptations of bad versions of games that they've made a million times, or the last Call of Duty game, which sold worse than any Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 2. Because everyone's fucking sick of it. It's all just slop. It's becoming sloppier with the introduction of AI, which we're going to get to later. And all of the best games, just like was predicted by Larian Studios, all of the best games that are coming out right now are coming out from studios that are not publicly traded on the stock market. Mm-hmm. Studios that are not AAA, not with $100 million budgets, that are just allowed to make something that they believed in, something that they wanted to make, something that they loved. Yeah, and more of this. Please, more of this. Please leave your AAA studio job because they're not paying you enough and they won't let you unionize. And join with your amazing talent a studio that wants you, or start your own. The next Supergiant Games is all of you. Just go make it.
Speaking of indie games, Expedition 33 has been cleaning up awards left and right this year, and everyone behind the game has actually been using their platform to lift others up. When they recently won a Golden Joystick Award, the developers of Expedition 33 encouraged everyone watching the awards ceremony to go and play the indie game Dispatch. Also, to continue Expedition 33 news, Charlie Cox was nominated for Best Performance for the Game Awards and recently spoke out saying that while he is grateful for the nomination, his performance capture actor Maxence Kazoria deserves the award and not him, as he only recorded a few hours worth of lines. Expedition 33 is going into the Game Awards next week as the most nominated game of all time.
Wow.
Rightly so.
This is a good time to mention that we will be live streaming the Game Awards on our Twitch channel on December 11th.
Yeah, we will.
This guy reminds me of like the polar opposite, like the reverse version of Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of this news, I hear nothing but good things about Dispatch. Please play it. I'm going to play it too at some point between now and hopefully the end of the year. I hear nothing but great things. And support these games. I have supported so many indies this year that have been my game of the year, if not close to it. Things like Expedition 33, obviously. But, I mean, we have Team Cherry with Hollow Knight 2. We have with Silk Song. We have... obviously, Supergiant with Hades 2. We have so much other stuff. Dispatch, probably amazing. And then we have, mixed to mid reviews for things like Metroid Prime 4, which just came out. The indie space is thriving in a way that I didn't know they had in them, and I love that for us because it means we're getting great games, and they don't need to be the greatest looking game you've ever seen. They don't need to be a million hours long. They don't must needs be open world or have a cash shop or any of that other bullshit. They just need to be good games, and that's what we're getting out of these places. Again, exactly like Larian predicted last year. And man, has it been a year for that.
It really has. Okay, so let's talk about a recent gaming controversy that happened while we were gone. An indie horror title from Santa Ragione was released recently. However, you can only buy it on Good Old Games. This title was banned from both Steam and the Epic Games Store as it came out due to quote-unquote inappropriate content. Now, this studio had huge success with their last game that was called Saturnalia. The scene in question that caused the ban is one where a man and his daughter visit a horse ranch, which is comprised of people who wear horse masks. So I'm going to go ahead and quote The Verge, who did a very extensive article about why the ban happened. Quote, "The daughter wants to ride one of the horses, which the player facilitates. What follows was an interactive dialogue sequence where the player is leading by a lead as if they were a horse, a naked adult woman with a young girl on her shoulders." Santa Ragione is very clear about the kind of content that the game Horses contains. The lengthy content warning on the game's website lists physical violence, psychological abuse, gory imagery, mutilation, blood, depictions of slavery, physical and psychological torture, domestic abuse, sexual assault, suicide, and misogyny. Now, as of the 26th of November, this studio is facing closure because they were unable to get their game on all platforms and were not able to sell enough copies to keep the studio afloat. There's a lot to talk about here. I want to take a minute before we just jump to the next news item and really discuss this. But Hector, why don't you go ahead and start?
So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the type of scene in a horror game that you might see in, I mean, it sounds pretty Kubrickian to me. It sounds like something you might have seen in Eyes Wide Shut, or anything else like that. The child in question is not naked. We're not, meant to feel anything about that except this incredibly disturbing image of the child being exposed to whatever sexual miscreantness is happening in this place simply by being around it. That they're not assaulted, they're not anything else like that, but it is disturbing. It's a disturbing subject. It's a disturbing thing to see. I've seen worse in other video games, and I've certainly seen worse in movies that are not banned from anywhere. There is an impulse to infantilize the users, the people who partake of video games, and to say things a lot like the comic code we mentioned earlier. Actually, this was in our Patreon episode. We were talking about the comics code and how it kind of fucked comic books over for a long time because we could no longer have things like Tales from the Crypt, or it needed to have a rating slapped on it. And I'm all for ratings. Don't get me wrong. We shouldn't be selling this horror game to children or anything like a child. But if the horror genre can exist and it can disturb us, and it does ride the line between what is acceptable and what is not, because that is kind of the fucking point. Having this pulled this way, having people say, oh, I'm just not going to associate with this because I heard child something something, it's reactionary. And I applaud GOG for saying, no, this is art and art deserves to exist because it does. You know, not every movie should be irreversible, but the fact that there's one, it means that there's one. And you can, with all the warnings in the world, don't go watch that movie, but the movie exists, and it doesn't deserve to be destroyed or ruined or erased from public consciousness or banned and not able to be sold.
See, and for me, I think it's less about the actual content and more about the lack of communication that a company who holds all the power over other people's livelihoods, because the main issue was that they got pulled and they didn't know why.
Yeah.
And they didn't
That's
get the
very
answer for a long time. And it's like, okay, let's say it was something that was universally, objectionable that, oh, of course, no one would allow that. It's like, well, fucking tell us.
Yeah.
Point
Absolutely.
to it so we can do something to save our company.
Right.
Yeah, no, for it to be, for them to be silent about it and just pull it from stores without it informing the company of why, and like really written down with lawyers and legalese saying this is why you cannot, but to just pull their content and not say anything because they reserve the right to do that. Steam owns PC gaming. And I'll never call Steam the good guy. They're the best guy we have in this fight, but they're not the good guy, and they do shit like this sometimes, and it ruins people's
But it was
lives.
also it was also the Epic Game Store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot of other places. The only places that you can get horses right now, which is the name of the game, and just want to emphasize that if you want to play it, is Good Old Games, and it is on itch.io.
Yeah.
Those are the places that you can currently play this game.
And I mean, it's kind of a shame, and far be it. You know what pisses me off the most about this is we have to defend the fucking naked horse people game on the internet to
Right.
people who can't just like pull their head out of their ass and stop being so fucking prudish about this shit and just let horror be horror, for fuck's sake.
Right. Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about it. I feel like I could write a full fucking YouTube video essay about this at this point. But art deserves to exist, and I did, by the way, as I always do, I do pull from multiple sources when I'm trying to learn about these things and do these show notes so that I can always bring you factual information. And the more and more I was reading different articles about this, and The Verge was the reason I quote them is they were the best authority on this. They were the ones who wrote the article of, hey, this is what the fucking scene is, when everybody else was, like IGN was just fucking dancing around it. And I'm sitting there when I'm reading this and I'm just like, okay, like I could see that being disturbing to people, but that's what horror does.
They're supposed to
At
be
no
disturbing.
point during this is a child harmed, or is anything bad happen to this child? The child is just in a bad situation,
Right.
and it's only into the child in the universe of the game. The child doesn't know any better. This is a horse that a child is riding.
Right.
Only to us in our universe is this really fucked up. And I'm not trying to like justify the art, but like
No, well,
I'm kind of trying to justify the art here.
And,
Right,
and again,
let's not forget, like-
I still contend that even if it was the worst thing we could imagine, that's not the point here. To me, it's about communication, and that's the whole problem with like ratings in general is how vague they are.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you don't want a woman to enjoy sex as much as a man, put it down on paper
Yeah.
so that we know that when we're making our fucking movie.
Right.
No, 100% agree.
And not for nothing, but like the adults only rating does exist.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and should be used much more than it is for
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely.
things. A 17 plus rating is fine. The fucking age demographic for gamers these days is over 35. So like, just let games be for adults only. We already have that a lot. Just let it be.
Yep.
Just let it be. And just one final point, one really final point. This shit exists in real life, and no one has a problem with it. There are actual colonies of nudists in the world that allow people to invite children to them. That people can bring their families, which include children, and the children do not have to be naked. And if anyone is weird about it, they go away. But whatever happens, it's a nudist colony, and the idea that people can't be naked around children is fucking silly. And I know there's like horse masks and kinks and all other kinds of things, but like, it's like if we're this afraid of nudity, like, what are we doing? None of this makes any sense to me.
Because again, it did emphasize there was nothing sexual happening in that scene.
Exactly. So yeah. And John has the right of it. It's about the censorship of it all and the arbitrary censorship of it all. But literally, what the fuck, guys? Like, come on.
But if you're curious about this topic, do a little bit of research and understand what's going on. I would encourage you to pick up the game on GOG or buy it on itch.io. Like, just understand what the art is trying to represent. Again, it says, even at the very beginning, a lengthy content warning on the website explaining this is all the horrors of this game. They never try and shock you with it in a jump way. It's just, these are the subjects that we want to tackle for this horror game. Here they are. All right. Let's go ahead and move on from that. Let's talk a little bit about Square Enix. Not even happy to talk about this one, but Square Enix had a huge round of layoffs, another huge round of layoffs, with over 100 employees losing their jobs. Let's get to the HR excuse. This has become a favorite thing of mine, in a bad way.
Oh, yeah, whatever their blurb to the media
Here's
is.
their media blurb about why they laid off over 100 employees. I'm going to try and find my inner Square Enix voice here. We are reorganizing our operations in North America and Europe to strengthen the development structure and to drive a globally integrated marketing strategy. This was an extremely difficult decision made following careful consideration and analysis by our leadership in order to best position the group's long-term growth. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to the talented team members who will be departing the company for their significant contributions to Square Enix. During this period of transition, we remain committed to treating each individual with the utmost respect and providing extensive support throughout this process. End quote.
I literally am just going to edit that as a Dalek.
This comes
I'm just going to add a robot filter.
This comes on the heels, by the way, of Square Enix stating that they are planning 70% of their QA and debugging to be done by AI by the end of 2027.
So the thing about debugging is that you have made a little bit of a conundrum in your code. One thing might contradict another. It's a logic puzzle. Usually, when you're writing code, a lot of the errors you're going to find are going to be like, I missed a comma, or I didn't close my parentheses, or my expression makes no sense. Things like that. Most of those things have to be fixed before the code can go into the game at all because it doesn't work. That's not debugging. What debugging is you have a scenario because either you had two people working on the same thing or one person working, I don't know, a 90-hour week and forgot what they were doing at some point due to exhaustion and has programmed in a state in which a light is both always on and always off. And you have to look into your logic, look into your code, and figure out where that is, why it's happening, and fix it. I don't think AI can do that. I don't think AI can recognize any of that. I've never seen it be able to recognize that. But that's debugging. That's one thing. Maybe they could teach it to find contradictions like that. The big one for me is QA. If you've ever seen any AI art, any early AI videos, it can't QA itself. There's that weird TikTok platform that instead you just write prompts into it, and instead of a TikTok made by people, AI shits out something that it figures out, and when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's nightmare fuel and not real and doesn't make any sense. And then iteration after iteration after iteration, when you tell it what's wrong, slowly it turns into something you might be able to show someone one day. Still doesn't make a lot of sense, but there it is. My point here is that AI cannot QA itself, ever. You get hands.
Look, Hector, I know my little nephew kind of fucked up and all, but I think instead of having him program with you, he could just look over your shoulder and make sure everything you're doing is correct.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at that.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
you could trust him for that.
just hire him instead of AI. Then like what? I've never seen AI do anything close to QA. A QA is things like, oh, you can walk right through this wall. Oh, you fall through this floor. Oh, if I jump into this corner too many times or use this combination of abilities, the game crashes.
If I press this
in other words,
button simultaneously, the game shits itself.
In other
Yeah.
words, what you guys are saying is that QA requires the ability to understand meaning.
Yeah, it
And
literally
context.
requires the
Yes.
ability to understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And every time AI is used for shit like this, they end up paying people to go back and fix it when it sucks. Because QA oftentimes isn't as big as the game shits itself and crashes. Let's find out what's going on. Or we need to run this through a million iterations until we figure out what works. It's something like, okay, for whatever reason, if you use this combination of abilities, the character's head stops turning to look at things. And they always look straight forward, which can be directly at a wall. And oh my god, if you turn in the opposite direction, his neck is snapped and facing backwards. AI is not going to be able to recognize any of that. It doesn't understand that. It sees that as normal. We have to go back to the Miyazaki of it all when someone, exemplified some weird AI shit for him saying, like, here's what we can do in animation with just computers. And he goes, this is an affront to humanity.
That is true.
Using AI to quality assurance test your video game to make sure that not only does it run and not break, but makes sense while you're looking at it is an affront to humanity.
Yeah, quite.
It will not work.
Quite literally and figuratively, like philosophically, like it is something so intrinsically held that most scientists I've ever met deny that it exists.
Yeah.
Most scientists are like, why is philosophy important? I'm like, why is science important? Well, it's because now you're doing philosophy.
Yep.
You stupid motherfucker.
Yep. 100%. The quality assurance portion is a human endeavor. It is understanding what art should be. Last night, James and I were at a friend's house playing a board game. We were having a board game night. It was great. We put on a YouTube playlist that was like music for board game nights, which was accompanied by still images on the screen, very clearly made by AI. And you could tell what the prompts were. It was a bunch of cats playing a board game. And you look at it, and like, yeah, there's a board game, and there's cats around a table, and there's wine. But you start to notice things that no human would have done, like 4 cats and 2 cups. Or the board game looks suspiciously like pizza and not like any actual video game. And some of the cats kind of look funny, like
Or
they're
have fingers.
bending a weird way. And then the next one was like that now it's people around a board game and it's snowing outside, and that's really cute. But one of their faces is nightmare fuel. And the rest of them don't seem to notice at all. And the background is blurry for some reason. And this is all shit that AI is making. How is it going to know that it looks wrong when it's also helping make the fucking video game? None of this is going to work. It is all buzzwords to make people invest more in your company because you're embracing the new technology that is also a giant stupid bubble that isn't going to make any sense and no one wants. There are so many things that we could use AI for that it would be good at. So many things. reading MRI scans, things like that. But instead, we use it to replace humans who talk to us on the phone about our health insurance.
Well, we turned file verification technology into fucking money.
Yeah. It just
Like-
like instead of using it for anything smart, it becomes a voice on the phone that says, "Tell me what your issue is," and then you tell it, and it says, "I didn't quite understand that. Try again." And it just annoys us. And every fucking app, you get like the Chick-fil-A app now powered by AI to give you the best experience of how to pick out your fucking chicken your
And
big-ass
homophobia.
chicken dinner.
Don't forget
Hector,
it's
you know how
powered by
I feel- I'm gonna tell
homophobia.
you how I feel about AI. Because we just had a big holiday with Thanksgiving and all that. I'm gonna tell you how I feel about AI. Everybody has that like one racist uncle who is like, I don't understand why I have to press 1 for English. That's how I feel about AI.
Yeah.
I'm like, why does it exist? It's only making things worse.
No.
Get it the fuck out of my country.
Yeah, straight up anecdote from my real actual life. I have a nuanced problem right now with my freezer. I live in an apartment, which means it's not my problem. I need to call the office and say like, "Hey, my freezer isn't broken, but it's not really coming down to the actual freezing thing's temperature. It's pretty close, but it's not quite there. There's an issue." But when I called the office, an AI answered. And when I said there was a problem with my freezer, it raised every red flag, even though I said not an emergency, and said this is an emergency, and sent one immediately there who said this isn't an emergency. In which I said, I know, that's what I told your AI. And he said, well, we can, wait a couple of days and then we'll look at it. I said, that's what I said to the recording, but it was AI. That is how AI all works. That is what it's been doing. There's a lot of things you can do with it. Arc Raiders is a great example of how they used AI in an interesting way to solve a programming problem for the robots in their video games. That's cool shit. But using it to replace human voices or try and debug code, that's never going to work because you need a person for that. Instead of using AI to help people, we're trying to use it to replace people. And it's just not that. It's not a person. And it can't do people work. Everyone, please, fucking realize that before the bubble bursts and we have the worst economic crash literally ever.
Oh, we are days away from it, I swear. All right, going from one bad topic to another. So, I'm going to knock out several Roblox headlines.
We
that
need a
happened.
new Roblox title card.
Yeah,
Definitely-
Roblox title card.
I need to do an entire Roblox boss room at some point, but we are just not there yet. All right, so Roblox, if you're unfamiliar with it, just a really quick thing. It is a independent gaming platform where you can make your own game inside of it. It is mostly utilized
You can
by
find a lot of
children.
kids.
It is a
You can
thing
talk
that
to
is
kids.
utilized by children, and it has come under fire for a lot of fucking bad reasons, and we're going to have to get into a bunch of them right now, so I'm just going to read you a bunch of headlines back to back. Strap in and strap on. Here we go. All right. Roblox, to catch everyone up, has been under fire for their platform, leaving minors vulnerable to pedophiles as there are no protections for who can directly message anybody within their chat service.
Oof.
Because of that, that's a Roblox joke, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Because of that, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing Roblox for allowing this to happen.
Broken clock.
On top of this, Roblox has been banned from Russia for hosting quote-unquote unsafe child content, including extremism and LGBTQ plus content. This is being led by an arm of the Russian censors who actively censor any LGBTQ plus content in video games within Russia. Because of all of this, Roblox is going to enforce age checks to try and limit communications between minors and adults. As all of these things are happening, any time that the CEO of Roblox is pressed in any way by the press, he grows irritated, wanting people to focus on things that the platform does well, not how children are vulnerable to predators on their platform. Am I being loud enough about this?
So, yeah, this just screams like Donald Trump yelling at reporters to stop bringing up the Epstein files or affordability, that he's already fixed it, or they could just relax a little bit about it. He's trying to tell them about how nice his ballroom is going to be. That's all. That's what this is. And like, oof, literally to the entire situation, to the bigoted whatever assholes in Russia, to Roblox itself taking no responsibility for the children they are exposing to predators, for the regardless of all of that, the child labor fucking business model that is Roblox, of having children design things that might make them some money, but really who it makes money for is Roblox.
For the record, this is a fake
Within
quote
Roblox,
I'm showing on the screen.
If you let's say that for a minute, let's pretend that you have a child, and that your child plays on Roblox, and within Roblox, a big part of it is that you can make video games within Roblox. You can literally make Call of Duty within Roblox, and they are a widely talented child, and your child makes this brilliant game, and then it goes onto the Roblox store, and your child can make a couple of bucks because they've got to publish their very first game. Also, Roblox makes like 99% of that money. It's basically child labor. That is something we haven't talked about yet, but it's basically fucking child labor.
Child slave labor, because like they're not getting paid in actual anything. Like again, Roblox takes all the money.
They're getting paid in Roblox bucks.
Yeah,
where they can then buy more things within the Roblox universe.
Roblox makes all the money. They get nothing out of it. Exactly the same way like American prisons make people work at McDonald's for you.
Okay, so let's break these various news items down real quick and just get a quick assessment from the fucking panel here. First off, let's start with Ken Paxton from fucking Texas is suing Roblox because adults can message minors on Roblox.
Yep. Again, broken clock.
Is that the real reason?
Yeah,
that is the
I
real
don't know.
reason.
Someone told him
he's doing it because Florida did it first.
Yeah.
As
He
shit
doesn't
he
want to
Jesus.
fall behind the Matt Gates protesting too much while he moves the 14-year-old into his Gator mansion. That's why Ken Paxton does this, so that he stays relevant in the news for something other than all of the fraud he's committed and all the crimes that he's done and been sued for. Yeah, it's great that he's suing Roblox. Nothing will ever come of it. And the second someone rolls up to his house with a dump truck full of money, that suit's getting dropped.
Absolutely. Next up, we had Russia is doing a bunch of bans because of unsafe child content, extremism, and LGBTQ plus content.
Yeah, Russia's the only place on earth that might be worse than Texas or Florida. There, I said it. They can be mad at Roblox all day. There are human rights violations happening all the time.
I guarantee you, right now, they care
war.
less about the children than they do the gays.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, they're gonna embrace the adults with credit cards who are after children way before they have any other issues.
Yeah. You can't make those children gay. They might not join the army to fight our illegal invasion.
Yeah, and these adults who are after the children, they have money.
I would like to say right now that Goodnight and Good Game is a proud supporter of the gays, and we love you all.
And
We love the
Ukraine.
gays.
Yeah.
All right, and then the last thing about this was just the CEO getting really upset about the fact that every time the press asks him about the child exploitation and also pedophiles on their platform, just gets mad about it.
Yeah, no, I hope his next interview, he just looks at one of them and says, "Quiet, piggy." That's all it is. It's bluster. It's Trumpian bullshit. You're not allowed to get mad when you're actually doing the thing people are accusing you of.
Sorry, this is a funny thing I do. I do fake quotes every once in a while. And
That's for everybody who's watching us live.
Yeah, we need a fake quote that's him, and it's just like the old Theo Von stand-up bit where he's like, sometimes kids just get molested. It's like it's no big deal. Remember the '80s, bro?
Huh.
Like that's that CEO.
All right, so here's the thing. It's been a rough video game news segment. We had fun in movies. I try and end on a high note for the weekly raid. I'm going to try and give us a win, all right? So to try and end on a win this week, EA has made 8 of their accessibility patents free to use.
Woo!
Now, there's a lot here that would take a lot of time to cover, but basically EA has had a lot of really cool accessibility options over the years that they've had patents on that they've started over the last few years making available to everybody in game development, and even open sourcing improvements to those tools to make them better for everyone. for everyone. So this is things from color blindness filters to voice commands. And since 2021, and I very rarely compliment EA, so fucking take this win right now, because I know you're listening, they have actually made a total of 46 accessibility patents free to use.
Awesome.
Damn.
Yep. Games should be as accessible as they possibly can be.
You're not going to make them any easier, though, are you?
I mean, I hope they do. I want every game, whatever game you can play with a story, playable with one button that you hold down, just so that people can experience them. There are so many video games with amazing stories that I play, because I often play games for stories, that I was like, man, my mom would fucking love this story. But she's not going to sit here for 60 hours while I play this video game.
Yeah, I always think of this stand-up comic, but he was on a Charlie Brooker TV special about video games. And he's like, it'd be like I get to the third chapter of the book and somebody comes along, no. You answer me these questions about the previous chapter. Oh, you didn't really understand that, did you? You got to go back to the beginning. Read it again.
Yep. Yeah, no, straight up, you're not wrong. And video games and stories used to be, as John Carmack suggested, like porn. Like they were there superfluously.
Yep.
But they're not like that anymore. Most all the games that I played this year had very incredible stories with depth and layers and meaning.
Let's talk about all the fucking people up for Game of the Year this year.
Yeah, stuff that made me cry, stuff that made me think. Everything from Clair Obscura to 1,000 Times Resist to the Silk songs about religion, y'all.
It is. It's weird.
Yeah, like seriously. There's just good stuff in there, and I think more people should be able to experience it. And the more accessibility we have, the better we are. And more games are coming with modes that are like, this is the story mode. There's hardly any combat, and any combat you run into, you can solve with one button and then walking away. And that, I think, is wonderful. All of the hard modes are still there for all the people who want to suffer through it. I'm one of them. I like to be good at intricate combat systems, and it's not easy, and it requires dedication, skill, and practice. Not everyone's there for that. That's great. You should be able to do it both ways.
Mm-hmm. Accessibility is really important. I want to talk about something weird real quick, because I had mentioned earlier in this year that I'd kind of like given up on mobile gaming. I don't play those kind of gotcha style games anymore on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I got into this year was actually I dived into, if you have Netflix, if you don't know, Netflix has a gaming app.
Mm-hmm.
If you loaded Netflix onto your phone. And last night, actually, I started playing this game. You recommended it to me, Hector, about where you play a shopkeeper for dungeons. And your job is
Moonlighter.
Yes, Moonlighter. And you go into the dungeons and you kill monsters so that you can get loot, but instead of selling it in town, your day job is to sell the loot to the adventurers that are actually doing all of the work.
Yeah, you own a shop, and
Yeah.
you put stuff up for sale, and it has a price, and then you have to manage the shop and put up displays to display things nicely. Eventually, you have to worry about shoplifters. Like that's a whole fleshed out thing. And at night, you're in the dungeon collecting loot.
Yeah.
And the sequel just came out.
Yeah, it just came out, and I was playing it on my phone. And one of the things to talk about accessibility options is like when you start the game, it gives you like 3 levels, and they're not even levels of difficulty. It's just, do you not want to have to do combat?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to do some combat, or would you like to manually control all of the combat?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's so fun.
So cool.
And like the fact that this was a game that's a pretty big, it was like a AA game that came out,
Mm-hmm.
and like the fact that Netflix pulled it onto their platform and said, yeah, if you got a phone, you can fucking load this game up and just play it on your fucking phone. Like that was me at fucking 1 in the morning when I couldn't sleep today, and I was like, oh god, Hector was so right. This game's so much fun. I want to go
cool.
play it on a PC
Yeah,
though instead of my phone.
I have a dream that me and my wife can play this game together where I do the combat during the day, and then I hand the controller over her to manage the shop.
I'm going to tell you right
Yep.
now, that is a great way to play games.
That is a wonderful way to do that.
I have never really, that's not a thing that I've done with like partners that I've been with, but I've had really good friends of mine way back when I was a much younger me. This game Vagrant Story came out.
Oh,
and
man, Vagrant Story.
One of my favorite RPGs of all time. And it has 2 things to it. It has the deep dungeon elements and then the religious trauma. That's probably why I like it. I should probably see a therapist. And the other part of it is this weapon assembly that's an entire game on its own. And my really good buddy at the time, he didn't give a fuck about the game itself, but he was really fascinated by the weapon like assembly part. And so we would play the game together, and for like 6 hours I would grind in these dungeons, and then I would get tired, and I would like hand him the controller, and I'd be like, wake me when you're done. And then like 4 hours later he'd be like, my masterpieces are complete, take them down into the dungeon and run with them. And it was one of the coolest fucking things ever. It was a blast. It's a great way to play games with your partner if you've never tried it out before. But it's really, to get back on point here, it's really great that EA has opened up a lot of their accessibility options for everybody to use. Now, not to be too much of a dick about it, we need to start releasing the patents on things like the Nemesis system.
Oh God, yeah.
Like,
So stop patenting video game mechanics.
Please stop patenting video game mechanics.
Like, it's not fair. It's like patenting rules. Like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just
so hats off.
knock it off.
We're gonna give you your flowers for this.
Yeah.
But also, guys.
Yeah, like it's wonderful that you created the Nemesis system, but you know what you're allowed to patent? The fucking Lord of the Rings license that you own, and Batman and whoever else. That is all stuff that you are allowed to own, that you are allowed to franchise out, that you are allowed to keep and hide in a dungeon forever and never release. Bloodborne, you can do whatever you want with whatever you want as IP wise. But you can't patent jumping in a video game any more than Paris Hilton, and I know this is a very, very old reference, can patent the word hot. You cannot
really old
patent fucking, creating a system where enemies remember you and remember your previous interactions. We have had that forever. You just slapped a name on it and fleshed it out. Good for you.
Pokemon Nintendo is trying to patent just the concept
Yeah, the
of
concept of putting monsters in balls. Not everyone can put a monster in a ball.
I
You're
have
not allowed
monsters
to
in
do
my
that.
balls right now.
Exactly. Don't make me release them at you.
All right, that's everything that we have for the news this week. But stick with us as we wrap things up in the epilogue.
Epilogue.
All right, everyone, welcome to the epilogue. It's been a while. I know that we've been off air for a bit, but here we are. It's time to dive into what we've been up to over the last month, what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what's been occupying our free time. Hector and I kind of have the same story to tell. So, John, why don't we start with you? What have you been up to while we've been gone?
Well, I've been up to a few things. I wrapped up Ted Lasso. Very cool.
Hell
I enjoyed it. It was a beautiful, lovely wrap-up. So thank you for that.
What was your favorite episode, and why was it Coach Beard at night?
Oh, man, that was the best one. Like, as soon as, my wife is usually distracted, doing her Slack notifications or whatever. But that one, I was like, no. We gotta really watch this one.
You need to tell your wife to log off of work.
No. She feels that sentiment so badly. But lately, since Steam did its big Black Friday week, cyber whatever the hell sale, I went through and I started playing a few indie games, and I'm currently playing The Gunk, which is a lot of fun. It's I would call it a cozy adventure game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But first, I really tried to play a game that is, in my opinion, a sort of perfect recreation of the PS2 old school Xbox era platformer action fighting game, Pumpkin Jack.
Okay.
And it did it so well that now I'm like, wait, did we enjoy those games as much as we thought we did?
It reminds me, so I'm unfamiliar with, not that I know every game, but like it reminds me, I've never heard of this. It reminds me a lot of the game Medieval.
It's fairly, very similar
Medieval.
to Medieval. It came out, I want to say, in 2022, 21. So it's recent, it's modern, but it plays exactly like an old school PS2 Xbox game in the sense that, like, when I first died, I was like, okay, just put me back. Wait. I'm back at a fucking checkpoint. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so I'm having flashbacks to Jack and Dexter and Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
That type of stuff. And yeah, I love those games, especially Jack and Dexter. Like, those games really hold up because those games had the luxury of changing genre every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have your platforming, you have your run and gun, you have your adventure, you have
beat 'em up.
Your little things here and there. I think my favorite, modern's the wrong word for this game, example is something like Darkness. It's not Darkness. It's what was the one with all of the pantheon of the four horsemen?
Darksiders?
Darksiders.
Oh,
Darksiders
yes.
2 had this kind of gameplay, and it did it the best. And it's almost like one of those things where the genre dies because we can't go further than this.
I've always meant to play the Darksiders games.
Can't recommend 2 enough. It's incredible. Skip 1. 1 is basically a Zelda ripoff, and like you'll get tired of it after a while. 2, incredible. Play 2. You don't need to play 3 either. It's kind of like there's one that's really good, and the rest of them are fine. But this style of game, I like today. Exactly as much as I like stuff like the Gunk, which is very much kind of a throwback.
Yeah,
to that
like
kind
the
of
Gunk was like a perfect love letter to that style of game, except with
Was.
modern life improvements.
Yeah, not only that, but it also doesn't outstay its welcome.
Yeah.
It's only about 20 hours long, which is a good length for that kind of game. They don't need to be 100 hours.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff.
What else, John?
I would say that's mostly it. Yeah, finished up Ted Lasso, started playing. One game that I suspect will become one of my new favorites, even though I have barely started it. It's Far.
Yes, there's a sequel. They're
And-
both amazing.
Yeah, and the sequel's on my wish list already. Even though I'm only like a couple hours in, I have no idea what's really going on in this game.
Nope, doesn't
and
matter.
There's no dialogue. There's no text. You just got to kind of figure out from context clues what's. Oh, hey, baby.
Willow
What's
just came
happening?
into the room, by the way, for
Oh,
those of you not watching
got
at
a-
home.
got
She
a
brought a
kitty.
little toy into the room and was like, "Hi, everybody. I see you're
Oh.
busy right now," and then just jumped on to the desk
Oh.
to interrupt John.
Yep.
But yeah, this game looks very promising. So
Yeah.
you'd say it's good.
you-
Keep going.
Absolutely. If you like this kind of game, I have so many recommendations for you because this
I-
kind of game, this is the kind of game that I find cozy because it's like a tiny bit of puzzle solving, but mostly you're just like pressing forward, moving through the world in a way that is interesting.
I will say-
I don't know if you ever played Limbo.
I don't think I've ever heard
Yes.
of this game.
Limbo was not my favorite, but they made another game later called
The
Inside.
Inside was amazing.
See, this is the type of game you're getting, and there are so many in this
goodness.
genre that I love so much. That one. If that's one of your favorites, I've got more.
Yeah,
for
I
you.
think I have become almost a dedicated fan of what are they called? 2.5 platformers.
Yeah.
Like they look like they're
2.5D.
3D, but you only are moving along
Yep, that's
one
2.5D.
plane of existence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in love with those, especially American Arcadia.
Oh,
Play
yeah.
that if you haven't. It's fantastic.
All right, well, then it's time to jump over to what Hector and I have been up to. And this was definitely by request of a few people who listen to our show. They wanted to hear about what we've been up to for the last month.
Oh God.
Because we've been off the air for a bit.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, Hector?
Well, I went overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Japan, had an amazing time there. That made me very, very
Let's
happy.
talk about it.
I can't wait to get back. What can I say about it?
This is your first
besides
time?
I want to go back. It was my first time. The flight took its toll. I'll tell you that. I wasn't prepared for how I would feel getting off of an airplane after 14 hours. But the excitement of being there just rode me right through it because it was a shorter flight back because of the way that the Earth spins. And I felt much worse getting back than I did getting there. There was the excitement. If I tried to name my favorite things about Japan, I'd be here all day. But the thing that I will talk about the most is the food. Had an absolutely excellent time. Everywhere we went, we saw some of the most amazing and beautiful things everywhere, from shrines to mountains to arcades to fucking traveling infrastructure in an entire country with subways and trains.
A country that makes money off of
I-
its public transit.
I was there for 2 weeks, and I went from one end, from the middle of the country to the southern end, and all around one of the largest, most dense metroplexes on the planet. And never once did I get in a car, never, not once. And I traveled hundreds of miles in that city. Never once did I get in a car. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the food, and not the fact that the high highs, because the high highs were there. I had an incredible sushi dinner in Hakone, one of the great meals of my life. But I ate really well just about everywhere for not much money. But the real thing is how cheap the cheap food is. and not only how cheap it is, but the fact that it's not ultra processed bullshit like chips and Coke, but the fact that it's like tea and coffee and maybe a little sandwich that was made earlier that day or the day before. Right out of one of several brands of the omnipresent convenience stores, not gas stations. You don't need gas stations. There aren't a lot of cars
I don't
around.
think I saw a single gas pump while we were there.
I wouldn't know what a gas station looks like there, but I went to maybe hundreds of convenience stores. They all had pretty much the same stuff, except they had different kinds of food, and it was all delicious and fresh and either hot or cold.
What did they keep trying to force upon you that was addicting in a can form?
I mean, strong zero, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, there is the fact that you can grab like a 7% alcohol for less than $2, cans of it, tall boys of it, and go back to your hotel room and just fat kid it up with all of the ice cream and alcohol that you want before you get into a bath and pass the fuck out. It was wonderful. The toilets are better than here. The bathtubs are better than here.
There was something that you said after we got back from Japan, which in Japan everything has bidets, all that.
Oh yeah,
Hector, like we were all talking about just our trip and how much fun we were having, and Hector goes, "I've never stopped to think about how many people are walking around America with unwashed asses."
Yeah, everywhere. All of the time, trying to keep that thought out of your head, dear listener, dear viewer, because it'll ruin you. Just try not to think about it. Don't think about it in terms of the person you love or people you don't know. Don't try and think about it every time you meet a new human being. Just try not to think about anyone's unwashed ass.
And if you're a baby wipes person, don't flush them. Okay,
yeah,
even if they say flushable, that's marketing.
That's a lie. Just get a bidet. They're not that expensive. They're on Amazon. You can attach it to your toilet, even if you live in an apartment. It takes 5 minutes.
Big Paper's gonna fucking get you, Hector.
Full support.
Fuck them. Okay.
Japan highlights.
Japan highlights. There's the Toei Museum. I stood in front of a life-sized half of an Eva.
I was in an Evangelion.
It was incredible. I got in the LCL plug. I stood in its hand and had my picture taken, and I bought a bunch of merch. Not as much as James bought, but I bought a bunch of merch. I saw Mount Fuji both from the airplane on the flight in and out, but also from a bullet train as I rode from Tokyo to Hakone.
Oh, quick assignment for you two.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some pictures.
Oh yeah,
we have so many.
So I can put them
share
on
my folder with you.
Share it so I can put them on screen while you're talking about this stuff.
Yeah, I absolutely will. God, highlights. Onsen everywhere. The first hotel we stayed in. No. I will caveat this because I wish they would be a little more enlightened about it. But you're not allowed to have tattoos and be in a public bath, which meant my friends like James here and our friend Lash, who's a member of the show, our one of our good friend Will's wife. Not allowed in a public bath, and they are everywhere, and they are beautiful, and everyone should be able to experience that. When we went to Hakone, we specifically shopped for a mountain onsen that caters to Westerners and allows tattoos, and God, what an experience. Just to be able to hang out in a hot tub with all of your friends, be clean, and just chill right before going out into 50 to 40 degree weather with the sunshine and the river going by, and oh my God.
So wait, James, you were like an untouchable?
I was until Hakone, which was the one place I could go to an onsen with tattoos.
Right, but to their favor, every hotel room had a very nice bathtub in it.
Yes.
Every hotel room had a beautiful bath with incredibly hot water that you could just soak in to your heart's content. So it's not like he did not bathe. It's just that he couldn't do the public baths, which I think is a shame. Because, the very first hotel we were at, me and my friend Ross just hung out there and then hit the Sky Lounge for a drink and just passed the fuck out. It's a wonderful experience. What other highlights were there? Obviously, the arcades in Akihabara. Amazing time. The fact that there's no tipping culture. The fact that what I paid for my meal was for the food that I ordered and nothing else.
No tipping, but are people being paid?
Oh, they are
yes,
very
people
much
are paid
being
living
What?
wages.
What?
We went into a 24-hour ramen shop that you have to speak to no one to eat at. They are making the food in the back, but I ordered from a kiosk and I literally put my tickets down that were disappeared under a curtain in front of me, and then the food arrived. And they had all kinds of things that I could write down, like changes to the thickness of the broth, to how much spice I wanted in it, to if I wanted extra noodles. Again, never had to speak to anyone. And I even had a placard that I could place down to complain if someone was being loud. Because it's supposed to be a quiet experience with just you and your ramen. And on the board while you're eating is a, hey, we're hiring sign. Here's how much you will get paid. Here's what we stipend in for your travel allowance if you live so far away. Here's how many hours you can work per day, week, or whatever. Here's, as little as this or as much as this. Here's the hourly rate. It's all there. It was all very reasonable. It was all living wages. Like people get paid to work. People get paid to live for a job, which is kind of incredible.
So to that point, I just want to interrupt real quick. One of the things that you will experience if you've never been to Japan before is that a lot of the bars and restaurants, a lot of the places, very small, do not.
Very, very small.
Very small.
We were traveling in a group of 7, and it was kind of a challenge for us to find a place that could seat us all.
Right. And you would go commonly into a bar or a restaurant that can only house maybe 15 people. Mm-hmm. And you would be there for an hour, 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And you think about that, and you think about the mass production of food here in America and how it's, we have to do 50 tops and all these people and all these things. But there, because of the way that, I don't know how everything is structured financially, we went to a lot of bars that only housed maybe 20 people max in the bar.
Oh, yeah, 20 would be stretching it.
And the entire bar lived off of that every night.
Yeah, absolutely. We went to cocktail bars and just regular ass beer bars and like the fancy stuff, the not fancy stuff. We went to a metal bar that was awesome. We ended up at a bar called Adios Motherfucker that saw some Westerners come in and decided they wanted to be our friends and asked James what his favorite music was and put it up on YouTube for us, and like we stayed there for several hours and then we left and then they asked us to come back.
Yeah, I do want to do a fucking special shout out should they ever hear this too.
Oh yeah,
God's Metal Bar.
Oh God, fuck yeah.
In Shinjuku, and Adios Motherfucker. And Adios Motherfucker is my home base in Tokyo at this point. They took us in. They looked at us real weird when they first came in. They're like, why are there a bunch of foreigners in our...
How did you find
We
this?
had to go out of our way to find this bar.
Yeah, and also we were looking for a different bar when we walked in.
And we sat down, and they're like, hey, have a drink. And after we had like a drink or two, they were just like, hey, what's up with you guys? Let's learn about you. And the cool thing about the entire trip is that everybody like is cool with Google Translate on their phones.
Oh, yeah.
So we were sitting in Adios Motherfucker just having conversations. At one point, I had mentioned to them, like Hector was saying, I was like, oh, yeah, I grew up listening to J-Rock. Like, X Japan was one of my favorite bands. And not only did they put it on while we were there, but we came back a couple nights later, and just as we sat down, they remembered that I listened to X Japan and tossed it back on just so I would feel at home at their bar.
Yep.
And that's why Adios Motherfucker's my home bar in Japan.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, there were so many highlights, so many great things that we did. Just time of our lives. James got some new ink. It looks incredible. If you're listening to this, we'll get some pictures of that and have John put them up. But
all right, but every time you guys mention something and you don't have a picture, I'm putting turning Japanese on the screen.
All right, yeah, that's fine. But man, as far as things that have been making me happy recently, it's the thought of going back. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of other places in the world I want to visit, and I can't wait to visit.
Euro trip
They're
next,
all
baby.
other. They're all places other than here.
Yeah, they're all places
Euro
other
trip
than
next,
here.
baby.
I want to shout out for the country of Japan the competence and the pride that people take in their jobs. Because if anything has been more evident to me about the difference between our cultures is getting back to the United States and realizing that people don't give a fuck here about the job that they do or how rude they are or how, the positions that they have. There's so I don't want to go negative here. I want to go positive for Japan. So just like the dedication of these people to their craft. We had me and my buddy Ross and his partner Aaron, both best friends of mine. We had a bit of a conundrum on our flight back, and the people who check your bags and look at your stuff. We were in two separate lines, and when we informed them about our next flight, they said, "You might not make it. Do you want to book a new flight?" And we're like, "Well, I don't know. I'm traveling with them." And then both of them, the two stewardesses or the two employees behind the counter looked at each other, got together, powwowed, and then talked to us all as a group to try and make sure that we were comfortable with our flight plans, that we checked the proper bags or didn't check them in case we needed to run to our flight and didn't have time to change our luggage. Just worked the entire thing out and did not let us leave their presence until we knew what our plans were and what to do next. And when I got to the United States, I was instantly greeted by someone who gave me the wrong instructions on how to get through security, and I had to go back around again. And every TSA agent I talked to was completely unhelpful and had no idea what they were talking about. Mm-hmm. That was a culture shock that I experienced moving from one place to the next. And that's not to shit on America, which I do all the time and for good reason. That's just to shout out how good everyone was while I was there. I did not have a single customer service experience in Japan that I would not give 5 stars to. And I know that we're really into our 5 stars here in the United States. In Japan, this would probably be a 3.5 at best. But man, were they great. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I went, the people were great. We had people tell stories about foreigners not being welcome in certain places, and we did see that from time to time, and that is a thing. But I wasn't offended by it. They just kind of didn't want to deal with people who didn't speak the language. And I gave a little bow, and I walked out.
We will say that we also saw the opposite, where we saw places like Kyoto, where you would see signs outside of the bar that says, "It would be impolite of us to not welcome foreigners. Please come in."
Yes, absolutely.
So just like any country, there are some people that are a little bit harsh to foreigners and some people that are not.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nothing against anyone. It's not like we don't have racists here. That being said, they were really polite about it. We're not polite about it here.
Most polite racists.
Here, we can't wait to call someone the N-word. Over there, they wouldn't have been rude to me. They wouldn't have gotten up and told me to leave. They would have just probably given me, a little bit less service and neglected me a little bit so that I took the hint and left. That's just how they do it. And I find that pretty polite because I can take a hint. And I get it. Mm-hmm. And I again, we had such high highs when it came to service that the lows didn't even register. Because the place is so dense with culture and shops and food and everything else that we could literally go across the street, which we did, to a makeshift Irish pub in the middle of Japan and have
many of them.
Have a bunch of sausages and beer. And it was great. Yep. And the waiter spoke good English, and like we all had a good time. Mm-hmm. Ordering from kiosks, why aren't we doing that? They're light years ahead of us. Yep. Ordering in general from there was a dream.
Ordering from kiosks, but not neglecting the physical staff.
Exactly.
Was the thing. Because in most places, when you hear like, "Oh, I order for a kiosk for my food," you assume, "Oh, there's no human people." No, they have a full staff of human beings that are doing everything. Just for you to put your order in, because everybody's so fucking specific about things, just put it in the kiosk.
Yeah, and then it'll come out the way you asked for it. Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, we went to a McDonald's for the S&Gs, and it was great.
How was that like the best McDonald's I've ever been to?
No kidding, right? It was super efficient, super obvious what was going on, even though we were ordering from kiosks.
Hats off to the Street Fighter collaboration burger, by the way.
Yeah. Again, I have to shout out the food. When you can get a Coke from a vending machine for less than $1, but you can also get hot tea if you want it. You can also get hot coffee or cold coffee if you want it.
The fresh pressed orange juice.
There was a fucking vending machine with just oranges in it that you could watch get pressed into a cup of orange juice. Just oranges squeezed into a cup.
It was the
best. They give you the cup.
I've ever
it
had.
Was less than $4, and you have a fucking cup of just the freshest orange juice you may ever drink out of a vending machine.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, while you're tired and waiting for your train to take you to your hotel, it's a godsend.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Let's see. A couple things that I just want to highlight real quick. Yeah, we went to the. I dragged them in air quotes to the Evangelion statue in Kyoto. That was a highlight for me. A big part of this trip for me personally was when I was a little kid. And I was a super weeb when I was a kid. I grew out of anime as an adult, but as a kid, I had made a promise to myself that I would always go to Japan someday. And originally I was supposed to go to be an English teacher, but I ended up in tech and long, complicated bullshit I don't want to talk about right now. But going to Japan was really about making good on a deal to my younger self that, hey, we were going to go someday. And I felt bad because it took me this long to go and take care of that child part of myself. But on the other side of it, it's been a rough few years in America, and I got to feel like a kid again. And I can't remember the last time that I felt that way. We went and saw an Evangelion life-size thing, and I nearly teared up with my friends. We went to Hakone, which is the area of Japan, and I didn't know this at the time, by the way. This was just our friend Will said, hey, we're going to do this like big, I'm paying for everybody to have this big hot springs experience together in Hakone. I didn't know that Hakone was like where Evangelion, quote unquote, was based on, like
Right.
region wise. And we go there, and I go to Hakone and I go to these hot springs, and I get to sit in the hot springs with my friends for the first time. And as we're leaving Hakone, like I just get upset, and I don't know why. And I still don't know why I was upset. All I know is that I walked around a town where I watched this village of adults and kids play together and hang out together and have a good time. And there was this sense of peace that like I haven't fucking felt in ages because we live in fucking America.
Yeah.
We went to arcades. I got to play the greatest arcade game I'll ever play. I think it's called the Gundam Assault Battle. It's a tactical card game that's also a strategy game. That doesn't exist in America, and it's an online game where you compete against other people. We showed up during the 30th anniversary of Gundam Wing and Evangelion, and every part of Japan was celebrating that. And again, as somebody who doesn't fucking watch anime anymore, my inner child woke up. I had ramen with my friends at 7 a.m., and that was a great breakfast.
Such a good breakfast.
Despite being injured, and multiple of us being injured, got up every day and took aspirin and walked around and braved the subway system.
Yeah, by the way, you Americans are so bad at walking, apparently.
We're so
Oh,
fucking,
God,
like, literally
yeah.
all of us got broken during that.
Oh, yeah. To 20,000 steps a day pretty much for nearly
Fucking
2 weeks.
killed us. And I didn't even feel it until I got back to America.
Mm-hmm.
I hung out with my friend Lash, who stayed longer, and we went back to the arcades, and we went back. We helped other foreigners at one point who were stuck on their travels, and we had just been there long enough to be able to help them out.
Yeah, just to explain how the train system works, which was remarkable, how organized and how well all of that works.
And not to bring it up again, but again to God's metal bar, one of the greatest metal bar I've ever been to, that only holds like maybe 20 people max.
Yeah, at the most.
And Adios Motherfucker, just the dirtiest of fucking dive bars.
Yeah,
in
just a bunch of friends who hang
Shinjuku.
out there and are surprised when they have customers.
Shinjuku, you know what? Shinjuku is not for everybody. I'm going to throw that out there right now. But if you're a person who loves a good dive bar, Shinjuku is probably the place for you.
Absolutely.
I think that everybody should go at least once. Anthony Bourdain is on record saying that it's a place that will change your perception. It's like taking LSD for the first time. Going to Tokyo is a thing that will move you. Going to Japan is a thing that will move you and make you see the world differently. And I will wrap this whole thing up by saying that, like, right now, and I know that it's fucking rough because job market, money market, all that stuff, everybody could use a little bit of perspective. And maybe getting out of the country for maybe 5 minutes, whether that be Japan, maybe that's going to Europe, maybe that's anywhere else that's not North and South America, might be the thing that could help you out a little bit, because I think that the reason that I cried so much was just I forgot what it was like to just enjoy the world for a minute and not be constrained by the fucking horrors that we deal with day to day. And I know that sounds extreme, but it's different when you're outside of the country for 5 minutes. For 2 weeks, I didn't have to look at the politics of my country that I hate. I hate the politics of my country. I love my country, but I hate the politics of it. And I had to I turned it off. My phone, my everything. And now I understand when you hear a celebrity say, oh, well, I took 2 weeks off to go to the Carpathian Mountains and fucking have peyote and do whatever. And I just felt refreshed. I always looked at that shit and I'm like, well, it's because you're fucking rich and got to do dumb shit. But it wasn't. It was just you got to fucking disconnect for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the takeaway, is that if you get the chance to disconnect for a minute, fucking take it.
Yeah. So whatever it is, whatever your thing is that helps you disconnect. To echo what James is saying, the first time I did that onsen, I've always wanted to do one, and it was the very first hotel. And the tradition, the culture is that you clean yourself off with with a bucket and a little shower head, a kind of a shower wand and a sink, and you soap up and you lather and you rinse and you wash off, and then you walk over and you soak in a hot tub. And I'm not a bath person. I know James is. I don't take baths that often. I don't think I'd taken a bath before I got to Japan. I shower all the time. Shower every day. I don't think I'd taken a bath since I was in my teens. I bathed every day that I was there after that first day getting in the onsen, because I don't think I'd felt that clean or that relaxed ever. And it's all just in the way that they do it and the way that they present it and the ritual of it.
The outside
and the fact that
bath.
it's supposed to be a ritual. And going to Japan, to echo the sentiments of James and Bourdain, it felt like that bath for my soul, for my brain. And I know that's also extreme, but I was cleansed in a way that I hadn't felt in a long time. And getting back really did feel like diving right back into the mud and being like, this is where I live. Being there felt like such a breath of fresh air, like such a like that feeling of clean, dry skin after bathing. It was just like you can breathe again, like you feel like everything's gonna be okay. And man, yeah, if you can experience that in any way, now is the time to just figure out how to do it and do it.
And I do want to say, just as kind of a final word of this whole thing, we don't have a whole lot of Patreons, but we have a couple, and most of the money that goes into our show from Twitch subscriptions and all that goes right back into the show, goes back into the AV. We never make profit off of what we do because we don't have that many listeners. This was the first time that we took just a little bit of money from our Patreon, and it was very little. It was like $100 a person, like 100 for me, 100 for Hector. And it was like, go have a good time. And it was the first time that we've been doing this show for 12 plus years that we just took a little bit to have a moment for ourselves. And we couldn't have done that without you. I'm not saying that we need to be making more. We'd like to be making more.
Yeah, obviously.
If you guys out there could use a couple reliable techies or an amazing filmmaker / editor, hit us up.
Oh yeah, please do.
But yeah, even that $100 went to a couple of great meals. It went to bath time. It went to drinks.
Yeah. Maybe maybe a 7%er, Sapporo for the hotel room
That
next to an ice cream.
9% zero strong.
Yeah, that
strong
9%
zero.
strong zero, man. Like,
Can we get that in the States, please?
It is such a meme, and my God, it is wonderful.
I will say that to wrap this whole thing up, it was a really funny story because Hector and I shared rooms over the course of the trip. There was one time that Hector bathed before me, and then I was going to hit the bath after he did. He came out, and I was like watching Japanese TV, and I'm like in a full yukata and everything. And I've got this like juice box, like literally cardboard box of sake on my chest, not holding it by my hands, straw in my mouth, watching. He walks out and looks at me and he goes, I don't think I've ever seen you so comfortable.
Just no handing that sake.
Yep.
Just enjoying life. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did while we were there. And it's so hard to disconnect here.
Yeah.
even if you don't have a job, like whatever it is, like that, the world just bothers you here, and being able to just relax and disconnect somewhere was such a fucking wonderful thing.
All right, that's everything that we have for the show this week. Don't forget that you can head over to goodnight.gg, become a patron of our show for only $1. You can head over to facebook.com/GNGGcast, where you can chat with us, as well as at GNGGcast on Twitter, and goodnight.gg on Blue Sky to talk to me directly. And remember that you can tune in to watch the Game Awards with us on December 11th on our Twitch channel.
Please do.
But until next time, for Hector, this is James.
For James, this is Hector,
And for you, this is me.
Everyone, good night.
and good game.
Bow. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Don't forget, next week we're
next
not
week,
skipping one.
Game Awards.
Bye.
It's going to be great. It's going to be all Expedition 33.